Okay, hello, and now, and now we are doing King Cobra, premium malt liquor, premium malt liquor. Previously, I did Mike's Harder Watermelon. It's fine. I mean, you know, it's a beer, like my father says, a beer for people who don't like the taste of beer. I have two more in the fridge, the Smirnoff Spiked Screwdriver and the Smirnoff Spiked Coconut and Pineapple. They'll be fine, but I'm going to get sick of drinking them, you know, pretty quick. King Cobra is the kind of thing I would not get sick of drinking pretty ever. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't get tired of it. It's a beer flavor. It's all natural ingredients, water, rice, water, corn, syrup. Let's see, water, corn, rice, barley malt, hops, hop extra, all that stuff. Multigrain, a multigrain beer. Look at that. Golden, bubbly, not much head. So it's like a beer flavored beer. A beer flavored beer. Sound like a bad wreck? I'm sorry to hear that. Bubbly, not much head of foam, but that makes sense. The can's been open for a good 4 or 5 hours. No big deal. I did a taste challenge. If it goes flat, I'm not gonna get cuckoo over it. Ronnie S says malt liquor. Yes. Sounds bad. We have some bad wrecks around here because people are always on their cell phones while they drive, and plus we have too many road junctions here. US 51 at 61, US 51 at I-10, Louisiana 3188 at I-10, Louisiana 3188 at 61, and so on. And people apparently don't know how to merge in the traffic or negotiate a junction of highways. I'm not making a joke out of that, just they really don't. This whole idea of turning left into oncoming traffic, can't figure it out. They can't figure it out. Turning right on red, can't figure it out. You can turn right on red if there's no traffic coming, not just because you want to. Okay, Ronnie S says, don't text and drive. It's the law. Yeah, it's the law, but don't sell cocaine is a law too. But beer flavored beer, haha, that's my favorite kind of flavored beer. Right, says Craig. So yeah, I mean, this has gone a little flat since 11 this morning. 12-year time, so 4.5 hours. But you know, I'm not gonna sit here and just drink beer all day. I had to fix my mailbox, put paint on it, paint it, so my hands got paint on them, and came out nice. And then the termite guy doing his 5-year treatment. We have bad termites around here. All southeastern Louisiana has terrible termite infestation, so you have to have it treated. I mean, you could be a cheapskate, not do it, then you might, instead of paying $612 like I did, you could pay $60,000. You know, whatever, it's up to you. But he took 4.5 hours. You know, he was working hard. Apparently, he seemed like he was. It tastes like a beer, yeah. So this is a beer that tastes like a beer. You know, it tastes like cereal grains, rice, corn, barley, hops. You know what I'm saying? Light to medium body and a crisp, clean finish. 133 calories. That's a light to medium body. Yeah, it tastes all right, you know? Doesn't taste like candy flavor in a glass. This is a nice glass, and I bought it at that thrift store right up at the front of the subdivision, or I should say the neighborhood. This is not really a subdivision. It's kind of like a patched together former plantation. It like literally was a plantation with cane fields and a plantation house, and the plantation was called New Era. Might have been a New Era of 1840, you know. Then the Lassane family took it over, the Lassanes, and then they sold it and they cut it up and made various streets and whatnot. But at the front, we call it the front, on Louisiana Highway 44, which I can see from my window when I'm washing dishes. I can see the cars at night, the lights. Louisiana Highway 44. Pretty long highway. But there's a thrift store. They get stuff from people and they sell it for money. It's not a nonprofit. Used to be. They didn't do it right. But they had this glass and it was like a quarter, 25 cents or 15 cents. I was like, I'll pay 15 cents for this. I think I bought 3 glasses and it cost me 45 cents. Yeah, that used to be a grocery store up there. They used to make their own andouille sausage. They had a smokehouse and they made their own sausage. There's still a smokehouse over there. And that guy has also grapevines, trellises. I think he makes Moscato grapes, Moscato wine, Muscatel. But that store, you know, they used to make sausage. And in 1990, from our wedding, that's where the sausage was made, smoked sausage. They did a good job. You know, they knew what they were doing. But anyway, the old man died, and the young ones didn't want to or couldn't do it, so it went out of business. But when I first moved here, it was still a store, old country store. Then they had a bar next to it. You could look in the door and you see people in there drinking. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard that. You know, you can imagine what they'd be saying. I heard that. But that ain't even true. You know, whatever they're saying at a bar when they're drinking. You know, and across the street from it was an old bar and a nightclub. I remember on the way to school, that was an old bar and it had dances, drinking, questionable activity, questionable business transactions. Yeah, okay. Now it's just a big field full of grass, thank goodness. Oh, Lord. All right. Where did the name King Cobra come from? Well, Ronnie, probably from somebody's imagination, because these malt liquors, they can't say super strong beer or high alcohol beer. That's a no-no in the United States. Oh, no. In Canada, yeah, you can call it extra strong beer or whatever. So they had to be, and I think until 1994, you couldn't even list the alcohol level. In 94, they said you could start listing it. You don't have to, but you can. I know that's a fact today. It's optional. You may list the alcohol. You're not required to. So since they couldn't directly refer to the alcohol level, they came up with oblique references. King Cobra, a cobra, venom. It'll strike you. You know, it's powerful. It's a snake. Or a Colt 45, a horse. A colt. Well, that's a baby horse, but you know what I'm saying? A teenage horse. Magnum, Hurricane, Mickey's with the Fighting Hornet. All the names that connote strength, power. And do they all do that? No, they used to have Budweiser malt liquor. It was just Budweiser malt liquor. Wasn't a big seller. They had Miller malt liquor. They replaced it with Magnum. They had Hafenreffer, the malt liquor with a European taste. In other words, tastes like kind of like Heineken or Spaten or Grolsch. Oh well, people just didn't care if it tasted like Heineken, so it went out of business. I bought one of the last 6-packs of those pint cans of Hafenreffer. Still have one of the cans. Bought that in 2014. Then the company was gone. But you know, they all have that connotation. They used to have Colt 45 Power Master. Schlitz malt liquor, the Bull. You know, and so on and so on. It's the same old story. So I guess they just sit around and think of a name, you know, somebody says, hey, what about calling it this? Crazy Horse. Then the Indian tribe sued. You can't call it Crazy Horse. So they immediately changed it to Crazy Stallion. They ought to call it Discontinued because it's a terrible product from my experience. King Cobra or Colt 45 is a lot cooler than Safe Space New England IPA with a unicorn on the label. Some of this new stuff is so silly. Safe Space. Yeah. Right. I really need that in my life. Yeah, some of the craft beer labeling and naming is, it's just, there's a little metallic taste here. It's depressing. It's sickening. It's insanity. I don't know. Maybe they think they're being clever or cute or smart, but I don't think they're any of those things. I think they're just asinine, droll, and idiotic. And I'm not impressed, and it doesn't make me want to buy it. And I do not think to myself, oh, I just gotta buy this. Sorry, I don't think that. I roll my eyes and think, are you kidding me? This is a joke. Or space dust. Well, I don't mind space dust. You know, they're saying, let's get dusted. I mean, it's silly. You know, a lot of the craft beer is all the cartoon characters. You know, you ever looked at a bunch of craft beer cans? It's all cartoon characters. I call it funny animal labeling. I'm getting tired of looking at funny animals, loud colors. Man, if you walk down a craft beer aisle, it looks like you're walking down a laundry detergent aisle. Loud, garish colors, cartoon characters, low-grade artwork. Oh, man, it's worse than Marvel Comics in 1995. And I'm the first to admit that. No, I'm sure other people have commented on it. Like they said on Driving Miss Daisy, that is a sad sight. Johnny Neely says, good afternoon, Ron. Now Johnny Neely is in the mix. And Ronnie S says, Neely clinking the mugs. Johnny Neely says, I love King Cobra, baby. Johnny Neely says, cheers, Ronnie. Ronnie S says, loud and in your face. I've been accused of being loud and in your face. If you look at my main channel, you'll see a lot of thumbs down. You say, well, that's the people that didn't like you being loud and in their face. This is true. Plus they have hang-ups. But off topic, didn't they ban Joe Camel, the cigarette ad? Yes. Because they said children would want to smoke because they saw Joe Camel, a cute cartoon camel with a leather jacket. I seriously doubt that, but you know, that was the beginning of the neo-Puritanism. We had a big problem with original Puritanism, and we have a problem now with neo-Puritanism. Mostly coming from the same states, of which New England is, of which New Hampshire is part of that. Interestingly, Joe Camel was conceived, or at least drawn, by Neil Adams, the famous DC Comics artist of the late 1960s, who did the quintessential Batman comic book artwork. Then he got out of comic books because there was a lot more money in doing cigarette advertising and beer and even candy bars. So he's like, I'm splitting with comics because there's more money to be made doing candy bars, cigarettes, and liquor. Oh, well, you know, nothing against Neil Adams. Jack Kirby did his share of commercial art with action figures and all of that. I mean, why not? Big Jim. That was like, it's called Big Jim. Big Jim action figures. You know, I'd do it if I had the talent. Only thumbs up for Ron, says Ronnie S. Thank you, Ronnie. Well, you know, this started years ago. Like when I had the main channel, I would kind of tweak people a little bit because I would do hangouts with people and I would think to myself, this is a bunch of bull crap. These people are phony in some ways. Like they're too insincere. Like they're, oh, hey guys, let's hang out, you know. And I'm thinking to myself, are you serious? there's some phoniness about you in some ways, I thought. And I can't stand that, you know. So I would make little oblique, you know me, I make these little oblique passive aggressive comments. And they started picking up on it, which, I mean, I can't complain because I'm the one that set off the grenade. You know, I mean, if you throw a grenade and it explodes, you can't fuss about it. But then, of course, when did you ever hear me fussing about thumbs down? So then they say, I'll show him, you know, I'll get you all. And so they get a little gang together and said, let's stalk him. Let's show him that big malt liquor enthusiast, you know, whatever. And they're saying, let's all get together and every video he makes, we'll put a thumbs down. We'll do it, guys. And I'm thinking, okay, whatever, you know. They had to be careful though, because if you start reporting videos for content violations, like what some ne'er-do-wells wanted to do was say, I'll just flag every video you make as being inappropriate. Well, they started finding out that was a problem because YouTube got to stop what they're doing. They got to hire this team. They got to research the video. So they're looking at the video and they're like, okay, where's the hate speech? And they're like, hey, nothing there. He's just talking about blah, blah, malt liquor and this ale. And so they start getting wise to it. They're like, oh, okay. These accounts are troublemakers. That's what these guys do. They cruise around looking for people they don't like, and they start reporting everything. Well, what they do is they'll ban their channel. They'll say, we don't need these people. You know, we need real, you know, we need to go after the real hate speech, you know, the Hitler, the Stalin, you know, the real racially based, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's like these guys have some kind of personal vendetta, and they're trying to use our guidelines to go after them. And so those guys kind of gave up on that because they get their channel banned, you know, and then they got to start another account, which they'll do in infinite to infinity. But but YouTube's not too keen on people doing these flagging. But the thumbs down, they're like, oh, well, who cares? You know, let them do it. I've had videos where it's one viewer and there's 3 thumbs down. You say, well, how could there be 3 downvotes and there's only 1 viewer? Easy. It's one guy, you know, he's 39 years old. He's single. He lives at home. He plays video games all day. And he has like 22 accounts. So what they do is they get on YouTube and they just keep switching accounts. Switch account. Thumbs down, switch account, thumbs down, switch it. You can do that in 10 seconds. And that's why you got 1 view and 3 thumbs down. So I wouldn't worry too much about that, y'all. People make comments 3 times, 4 times a week. Why are people doing this? What's going on? I say, just forget it. They got deranged people in the world. They're sick. They're sick. I mean, there are video channels I don't like. Well, guess what? I don't watch them. Do I wake up in the morning thinking about them and go to sleep at night thinking about them? No. I don't watch them, but I'm not insane. You say, yeah, but you're not insane. Good point. Now, if I was insane, I'd probably stalk them. All right. Johnny Neely says, I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog too. Yeah. You malt liquor aficionado, you. By the way, when you finally do get the PBR extra, I think we should do an examination. I agree with that, but I wasn't going to drive 15 miles to get it today because I had the termite guy over for the 5-year treatment, and that took forever. And I said, shoot, if I go to this new church in New Orleans on Sunday at Loyola University, Jesuit Church, Chapel, I said, on the way home, I'll stop at the Walmart community store, whatever they call that. It's just a grocery store. It's not a regular Walmart, and I'll get it. I'll get it. Friar Tuck says PB Extra is delicious, by the way. PBR Extra. I believe that. Johnny Newley says, I agree, Friar. I love it. Hey, Johnny Neely, I was watching that video last night. I think you had more than one PBR extra. You know what I mean? You went to Taco Mac and you drank a few, and then you did the PBR, and then you did the video, and then. But like Drunken One said, I did some pre-gaming. All right. Ronnie S says, I'd like to join that PBR examination. And then Friar Tuck says, a possible side-by-side could be done with King Cobra. Johnny Neely says, KC. He means King Cobra. He means King Cobra. Hey, you know what? I could buy a lot of King Cobra, people. But I'm not. I'm not, but I could. I know a guy. I used to work with him. He works at the New Orleans International Airport now. But he said, man, that's my grandmother's favorite beer, King Cobra. And I wanted to tell him, I bet your grandma is the only person in this parish of 40,000 people whose favorite beer is King Cobra. But I'm not putting that down. If she likes it, and I like it too, but I mean, how many people do you know that say King Cobra is their favorite beer? You know, it's kind of funny. I got a kick out of that. He used to always say that too. That's my grandma's favorite beer, King Cobra. I used to say, right on, brother. Right on, brother. Yeah, I had a few yesterday. This is Johnny Neely. I had a few yesterday. I couldn't resist that KBS. He drank KBS, y'all. And Monk's Cafe on draft. Oops. When he came on the Hangout, I was like, I don't know. But you know me, I'm just in the background sitting there fooling around with stuff. People watch me on these Hangouts. I'm looking something up. I'm fiddling with things, and I'm like toying with things. But I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. But I get the feeling he wasn't drinking Milwaukee's Best light before the Hangout. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he was drinking a 4.2% series. I got a feeling he was drinking some rather powerful items, but I didn't care, you know, but it was kind of comical. And then I could see Eric was getting so angry. You know, Eric was like, okay, we got a big panel tonight. And then everybody's like, we did pre-gaming. We did pre-gaming. I'm like, oh, bazam. And I was just sitting there. You can see my face. I was like, this is going to be fun. And then so Eric's like, we need to keep this in check. People are talking. You know, I'm like, I can read his face. He's like, people are talking too much. There's too much noise. It's taking too long. You know, it's going on. It's getting too out of hand. And I was sitting there like, well, what do you expect? They're all drinking alcohol. They're all lit. And it was just so comical to watch it. And he was like, he was getting so irritated. You know, I was like, oh, well, Eric, you can't control it now. Oh, that was a kick. And people could see my face. And I was like, I didn't say a word, but it was pretty funny. My parents' favorite beer is King Cobra, says Ronnie S. Are you serious? Your parents' favorite beer is King Cobra? You must have the only parents on Long Island. And I'm not including Queens and Brooklyn, because if I include Queens and Brooklyn, it might be a lot of parents. But on Long Island, that whose favorite beer is King Cobra. I didn't realize I seemed inebriated. I hope I didn't ruin the Hangout. Sorry. No, I didn't say you were inebriated. I said you were no. Don't take it the wrong way. I didn't say that. No, I said I could tell that you had pregame that you were exuberant. I would never say something bad like that. You didn't ruin the Hangout. The Hangout was too crazy anyway. You added to the Hangout. No, never feel bad about being exuberant. Exuberant. All right. Ronnie S says that was a fun Hangout. I know. I agree. I couldn't watch that Hangout, so I agree with Eric. Funny but unwatchable. Oh, your friend's parents. Oh, sorry. I don't have my glasses on. That's my excuse. John was lit up, says Ronnie S. Ronnie, we rather use the term exuberant. Okay? Exuberant, enthusiastic, engaged, linked in. part of the deal. He says it was unwatchable. I can see how people could take that attitude toward it. It was not unwatchable. It was enthusiastic, somewhat chaotic. Well, oh well, who cares, you know? John was lit up, says Ronnie. Yes, smiley face. Ronnie, John is going to try to meet you at the bridge and bust your chops for saying that, you ragamuffin, you instigator. Oh man, what am I doing here? I have to do, well, I'm sitting here ripping on people for being lit. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't say lit. I said exuberant. I mean to say I'm picking on people or giving them a hard time for being exuberant. And guess what I got coming up next? A lot of people talking over each other. Yeah, I noticed that. I was thinking to myself, the viewers aren't going to like that. Hey, you got to have me, an iron fist moderator. I'm an iron fist moderator. If I'm moderating it, it's going to be done in an iron fist regimented way. You know what I'm saying? It's like no one's going to talk over anybody else. I'm going to run it like, you know, every soldier in order, but I wasn't running it. Johnny Neely says, haha, Ronnie. Sorry, Fry. I guess they can't all be winners. I'm just a religious zealot accountant, says Ronnie. Friar Tuck says the exuberance was fine, but there were too many people on at once. Yeah, once you get to 10 people, it turns into a sort of a fiasco, really. I think the best hangouts be like 2 or 3 people, 4 at the most. Oh man, you get 4 to 10 people and they're all drinking alcohol and they're drinking these craft beers at a 12 to 14%. It ain't gonna go well. It just isn't. So I just sit back and say, I'm glad I'm not hosting it. But if I was hosting it, it'd be like regimented. Like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. But I don't do that much anymore. I'm kind of like taking a back seat, you know? All right, look. I'm talking about things getting out of hand. Things are about to get way out of hand. All right. Before I have to come back on. I have to do another. Oh Lord, I have to do another video. Get ready for this. Colt 45 more liquor. Colt 45. People say not after all of that. Well, you know, that's the end of it. I'm not going to drink more. Do you think there should be a limit to the amount of panelists, says Ronnie? Well, the limit is 10. And we had a full 10. 5 would be better, but you hate to keep people from joining. 10 is the limit. When you get 10 people who are consuming multiple beverages, you can only expect that it's going to be crazy. And it was crazy, but it was, no, I can't say it was controlled. It was fun. It was good. I mean, you know, people reviewed the beers. They said, oh, blah, blah, blah about it, you know. So it was fine. I was not unfavorable towards it. It was exactly what I expected. Chaotic, but I expected it. Yeah, I mean, you know, what difference does it make? You know, we could do Fandango Friday. We're not doing that anymore because Fandango Friday, or I should say Friday Fandango, that was done to placate somebody. And then the person we placated went berserk. So it's like, well, I mean, we did that to kind of like give in to somebody's rigid demands in a way. And then it didn't work out and people got a kick out of it. It was funny, I agree. But I mean, I'm thinking to myself, why are we going to do that again? I mean, because we can wear crazy hats and say, oh, look, I have a sword and all that. I mean, that's not our bag, really. We did that to placate somebody. It really isn't our scene. We do more of the rigid, button down. Oh, this beer has citrus notes, but there is a good amount of pale malt. That's what we do. And people can look down on that and say, well, that's just too academic. I don't like it. You just want to go through this rote, stylized, rigid, formulaic approach to beer reviewing it. I don't like it. It doesn't have enough fun and games. Well, whoever said we wanted fun and games? So we're going to go back to our old stodgy, zealotry, accountant-based, numerology, like Michael Komaroff. I'm going to write down, oh, well, you said this was an 88. Do you feel comfortable with that score? Yes, I do. Okay, good. We'll mark that in the book. That's what we like to do. I mean, you can look down on it. It might seem dry or boring. But that's what we like to do. Okay. We had 9 on the KBS examination. I think that went well. Eric just doesn't do enough moderating, in my opinion, says John Anelli. I wouldn't disagree with that. But, I mean, it is what it is, so we just deal with it. And anyway, what difference does it make? Every Wednesday night we'll do a wild card Wednesday. And then if he's not available, which could happen 2 days before the hangout or 2 minutes before the hangout, whatever, I'll do it. I don't have any baseball games coming up till February. So, whatever. All right, I'm coming back on in a minute, talking about drinking a lot on the video. I got Colt 45 coming up. I've been getting these calls all day. Every one of them is fake. I must have gotten about 10 calls today. It's the same thing. This is the Social Security Administration. You must immediately call or you'll be arrested and go to prison. I never used to get these. I mean, for about 6 months, I wasn't getting any, and today I've gotten 10.